There are several ways to win a fight in MMA, be it knockouts, submissions, or slamming your opponent so hard they can't continue the fight. There's been a number of fight-ending slams over the years. Today, we'll look at the hardest, most dramatic, and in some cases, downright bizarre. Welcome to the INC, and these are 5 of the biggest slam knockouts in MMA. Quinton "Rampage" Jackson was already one of MMA's biggest stars, but his actions back in 2004 took his popularity to new levels. At Pride Critical Countdown, Jackson took on submission expert Ricardo Arona, who entered the fight off wins over Dan Henderson and Murilo Hua. The fight would crown a #1 contender to middleweight champion Wanderlei Silva, with Jackson outlining a straightforward strategy in his pre-fight interview.
Strategy is, when somebody try to come and force themselves upon you, you force yourself upon them, doing so, whooping their ass.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Arona managed to pull guard in the opening stage of the fight, attempting to coax Jackson into a submission, before landing a series of upkicks that briefly rocked the Irvine native. Late in the first, Arona attempted to lock Jackson in a triangle armbar, before Rampage delivered the move that would define his career.
Dan, I told you, he'd pick him up and slam him to the ground!
He's out! He knocked him out! Unbelievable!
The slam is considered one of the greatest knockouts in Pride's history, helping Jackson become a mainstream star in the process, with high-altitude slams becoming a staple of his arsenal. Rampage would win the light heavyweight title at UFC 71 and currently holds a 38-13 record, winning his last fight against Wanderlei Silva at Bellator 206.
Rampage evens the series at 2 wins apiece! Rampage Jackson! Mamma mia!
Jessica Andrade joined the MMA Slam Club in 2019. After moving to strawweight in 2016, Andrade had become one of the division's most feared fighters, dominating opponents with a mix of aggressive takedowns and one-punch knockouts. At UFC 237, Andrade took on Rose Namajunas for the strawweight title. Namajunas dominated the first round, lighting Andrade with jabs and quick footwork, while using a Kimura grip to neutralize the Brazilian's takedowns. Namajunas used the move again when Andrade clinched in the middle of the second, but the commitment to the hold soon proved her undoing.
Nope, can't lift there. She's still getting oh! She slammed her right on her. No, you can't! Jessica Andrade is the new UFC strawweight champion! Incredible!
The finish was the first slam knockout in strawweight history, as well as Namajunas' first stoppage loss in 5 years, making Andrade the new UFC strawweight champion. The move sparked questions over the safety of slam knockouts in MMA, as well as a brief controversy with some suggesting Andrade tapped during the fight-ending sequence. Andrade holds the most wins by a female in UFC history, and is set to defend her title against Weili Zhang later this year. At UFC 34 in 2001, Matt Hughes was involved in one of the most controversial finishes in MMA history. After a 7-fight winning streak in regional promotions, Hughes earned a title shot against welterweight champion Carlos Newton, who'd beaten Hughes' mentor Pat Miletich to claim the belt 6 months earlier. The first round was a hotly contested grappling match, with both fighters gaining dominant positions, but neither coming to a close fight-ending moment. Early in the second round, Newton managed to lock Hughes in a triangle choke, forcing Hughes to pick up Newton and hold him against the fence to relieve the pain. Newton, however, continued to hold the submission, and with low blood pressure plus gravity, there was only one outcome.
Down goes Carlos Newton!
He's out!
He's out!
He's out! Carlos Newton! Matt Hughes is the champion!
Carlos Newton!
Hughes was declared the winner by TKO and crowned the UFC welterweight champion, despite being overheard telling his corner that he was unconscious during the fight-ending sequence. Hughes and Newton would square off in a high-profile rematch at UFC 38, with Hughes ending the rivalry by 4th-round knockout.
It's all over! Matt Hughes has defeated Carlos Newton again!
The first high-profile example of a slam knockout took place in 1998. At UFC 16, Frank Shamrock defended his light heavyweight title against Russian Sambo expert Igor Zinoviev. Shamrock was considered one of the sport's pound-for-pound fighters from his spell with the Japanese promotion Pancrase, and made a successful UFC debut with a 16-second win over Kevin Jackson. With wins over Edson Inoue and Mario Sperry, Igor was expected to give Shamrock the toughest test of his career. The Californian quickly put pay to that.
Oh my! He's out! He's out cold! He's out cold! He dropped him on his head, he's out cold!
Shamrock ended the fight 22 seconds into the first round, breaking the record for the fastest knockout in light heavyweight history, and one which wouldn't be surpassed for over a decade. Zinoviev suffered a broken collarbone and a fractured vertebrae from the slam, and had to be carried out on a stretcher, and added with injuries throughout his career led to his retirement from MMA. Shamrock would defend his title 3 more times, becoming one of the sport's greatest light heavyweight champions, while Igor today works as an MMA coach and a Hollywood stuntman. Not all slam knockouts work out the way as intended. In 2018, Jared Brooks took on Shorty Torres in the opening match of Fight Night Utica. Brooks suffered his first loss to Davison Figueiredo and was looking to bounce back in style against a short-notice Torres. Brooks started the fight strongly by rocking Torres in the first minute, before controlling the rest of the round with a mix of wrestling and heavy right hands. With momentum on his side and Torres visibly slowing, Brooks was ready to put an exclamation mark on his performance. Big mistake.
Whoa!
Bad move! Bad
Brooks is in
move.
trouble! Brooks is out! Jose Shorty Torres!
Could have just dumped him to his left and went for the big slam. Look at his head. Bang! Oh.
A similar situation occurred in 2007 when Rob Emerson fought Gray Maynard at the Ultimate Fighter finale. Maynard appeared to win the fight after slamming Emerson in the second round, only it became clear the Californian wasn't the move's only victim.
Gray gets a hold of him, lifts him up, bang, and dumps him and lands on his own head, knocks himself unconscious.
Brooks would win one more fight before being cut by the UFC, his record standing at 14 wins and 2 losses. And now time for a few honorable mentions. Tito Ortiz got Zuffa's ownership of the UFC off to an explosive start.
And he forced it all. It's over. It's over. Tito Ortiz has finished it.
Gerald Harris channeled his inner Arn Anderson during a match at Legacy Fighting Championship. Sarah Kaufman was criticized for her failure to finish fights, so when she did, she made it count.
On a very, very active on the bottom, and Kaufman picks him up. And wow, the powerbomb slam. It's over. Mamma mia.
This is the INC, and thank you for watching.